Welcome to today's video where we are going to be talking about the 5 habits of calm, high performing women. Now, I know that I have, and I'm pretty sure that you have looked at other women, whether it's at work, whether it's a school parking lot, or on the side of the cricket pitch, or whatever it is, and thought, how on earth does she stay so calm? I mean, she's got the same kind of responsibilities, she's got the same kind of pressure, she's got the same demands as I do, and yet she seems steady and clear and grounded. And for me, always looking at someone thinking, she seems so in control. She's not controlling things, but she seems so in control. And I know that I've thought in the past, oh, it's just because she's wired differently. It's just that she's naturally calm. She was born with more patience, with more of the ability to cope than I was. And so you, as I maybe did, often write off the idea that you could ever be like that life would ever be like that for you, even though it is something that you long for, that oh, I just want to be peaceful. I just want to be able to stay calm. I just want to feel at ease in my life. What if it is not true that this is just something that you long for, but actually, what if calm and clear, steady, high performance isn't just something that you're born with or something that's part of your personality, but actually is the product of a set of internal habits that lead to this way of being that we all long for, that we all envy in other people? And what if these habits are habits, again, not just habits that some people are able to keep, but habits that can be learned, habits that can be practiced and strengthened over time so that you can also be that mum, can be that woman that you watch with awe and perhaps with a bit of envy and just think, oh, if only I could just be more like that. I see this change in the women that I work with as we build what I call are the mental muscles of resilience. The women who move from overwhelmed and reactive and flustered to that very steady, beautiful place. Women who are able to choose how they respond to things. As a result, they move from exhausted and kind of collapsing to a place of feeling energized, feeling like they've got the capacity, feeling like they're raring to go. Now, does not that not sound amazing? Is that not something that we all want? So the interesting thing about these women that you might look at and from the outside they just seem that this is just the way their lives are, is that they do not remove pressure from their lives. It's not like they've quit their job or they've had an au pair or they just don't have any pressure. This is unrealistic. These women still have tight deadlines at work. They still have expectations placed on them. They still have children to care for and a home to run. But these women change how they operate within the pressure, that comes from life, from the deadlines, from the to-do list, from the expectations. They build an operating system that allows them to stay steadfast and certain and at ease within the chaos that is swirling around them. And so today we're going to talk about what that looks like, why they are able to do that, the 5 habits that allow them to be able to do that. Now, before we get started, I want to look at what we get wrong about calm women. We've touched on the idea that one of the biggest misconceptions is, or there are 2. One is that they're born that way. And the other perhaps is that they just have easier lives already. And this is what allows them to stay calm. So maybe they have less to do, or maybe they have less responsibility. They have less pressure. But when you really scratch the surface and look a bit deeper, that is not what's going on. There are many calm, high performing women who still have full calendars, endless to do lists, demanding roles, complex lives. They still have people relying on them both at work and at home. The difference about these women is not an external difference. It's not what's happening in their lives. It is an internal difference. And it is all based on how they interpret the pressure that they experience from outside. It's all in how they regulate themselves, how they relate to their thoughts, how they make and stick to decisions. That is the clincher, the game changer. So today I'm going to offer you 5 habits that the women that I work with put into practice into their lives. They build into their lives so that they can build their resilience, so that they can stay calm, they can feel at ease, they enjoy that peace that we all long for, and then they can get more done. They can be more focused and productive. They can be present with their children when they come home at the end of the day. They have the capacity to manage more pressure and more load. And again, before I share these 5 habits, I want to be really clear about the idea that these are not things you either have or don't have. These are not personality traits or fixed characteristics or just the way they are that you are. These are trainable internal capacities, which means that you can build them. It means that you can strengthen them. It also means that you can come back to them. Even if you've lost them, you find yourself kind of flailing under that pressure. Come back to these habits, reintegrate them into your day. And this is where your resilience can become very practical. This is where you really start to see resilience in practice. So let's think about habit number 1, which is that these women who appear to be calm, these women who perform at a high level consistently, sustainably, don't wait for a time where life will calm down, where the children will leave home or they'll get another team member or something will happen that'll make life calmer, they'll hire that au pair. They are able to regulate themselves within the storm, within the chaos, within the busyness of life. They understand that it is their nervous system state that drives their thinking, and it is their way of thinking that drives their decisions, and it is their decisions that drive their results. So they move back into looking at their state. So instead of trying to control everything around them, they're going to shift their focus on the question, what state am I in right now? What's happening inside me? Not what's happening outside of me, what's happening inside of me, and how is that affecting the way that I engage with what is going on outside of me. So always going back to the state and what state do I want to be in. So they might notice that there's tension or there's that urgency, that reactivity, just moving from one thing to another or feeling very reactive. They recognize that this state is, there's nothing wrong with it. It's nothing to push away from. It's simply their nervous system responding to something. Ooh, that's my nervous system feeling a threat. And now I have the tools to get me back to a place of calm before I choose how I respond. So I notice and then I get myself back to, I regulate myself back to a place of calm so that I can then choose how I respond. This is one of the fundamental tools of resilience. When you learn to emotionally self-regulate, then it becomes so much easier to feel calm and peace for yourself, but also to bring those around you back to that neutral place of calm and ease. I am sure that you've experienced it many times, possibly more noticeably with your children than perhaps with other adults, but have you noticed when you are frantic and angry or panicked or rushed, or there's something dysregulated in you, then your children become more dysregulated. Or if your children are dysregulated and you respond in a dysregulated way, it just ramps up. But when you are steady and at ease and certain, and when you are feeling in control of yourself, you are much more able to bring your children back to that place. And this is the same with adults in a team, anywhere that you go. When you are able to bring yourself back to a regulated place, you will bring those around you back to a regulated, calm place. And then everything feels so much easier. So the tools that I teach my clients help them get back to that place of ease and calm literally within a minute. It is quick. When you can do this, when you can regulate yourself no matter what's going on around you, everything feels so much easier. So that is the first habit, daily habit, that calm women put into place. Habit number two. Habit number two is that high-performing women who are able to keep calm, who are able to regulate themselves and thus be more productive and more focused and more engaged, are not led by what I call identity pressure. The greatest pressure that we experience as high-achieving women does not actually come from the deadlines, from the expectations, from the to-do list. It comes from the drive of our identities, of our wanted identities like the achiever, the good girl, the responsible one, the perfectionist, the capable one, and a drive away from unwanted identities, maybe like the lazy one or the incapable one. Or we're in a tension between these identities and moving away from and towards identities all the time. And the identities that drive us come with rules. So maybe it's I must not fail, or I mustn't be a disappointment, or I'm responsible for everyone's happiness. I have to fix everything. These rules and the way that they drive us is exhausting. And it's not to say that resilient, calm women do not have these rules, but they are not run by these rules. So the first step of these women is that they notice, these identities are at play. Okay, so look, there's my achiever talking. There's my perfectionist talking. There's my responsible one talking. And they can unhook from that identity. That is an identity. It's a false identity. It's not actually a part of me. And I'm going to unhook from that identity, and I'm going to choose a different way to think, a different way to operate. Just the one shift of not getting caught up in the rules that are running your thinking patterns reduces an enormous amount of pressure that you are putting on yourself, that actually this internal identity pressure that is not even coming from outside of you. When you can do that, so much lifts. Suddenly there's a lightness. I could go on about that for hours, and there are lots of videos and other podcast episodes around this identity pressure. So go and have a look out for them. But I don't want to get caught in the weeds here. So I'm going to move on to habit number 3, is that when you are resilient, when you are able to stand firm and steadfast in who you are and remain calm and peaceful, it is because you trust your decisions. These women who are resilient, who are able to stand firm, it doesn't necessarily mean that they make perfect decisions. None of us are perfect, but they trust themselves. And the impact of this trust is that their decision making is, as I say, it's very definite. They don't spiral into a whole lot of mental chaos once they've made the decision. They don't spend time and energy on second guessing their decisions and wondering if that was the right decision. They do not need external validation of the decisions they make. They make a decision, they stand behind that decision, and they move forward. And the ability to do this frees up mental energy. Suddenly you have space for a whole lot of other things. It frees up your time. It frees up emotional capacity. So now you have mental, physical, and time capacity that can be spent on getting things done, on sitting and spending time with your children, on all the other things that need your focus and your attention. And that in itself just creates an environment of so much more ease, so much less rush and fluster and holding on so tightly. I don't know if you can just feel in the way that I'm talking about it, the different experiences of trusting yourself, trusting your decision making. Right, habit number 4. This is a big one. This kind of flows from habit number 3. And this is the habit of protecting your capacity and not just protecting your time. We're not very good at protecting our time. And so we need to get better at protecting our capacity. The problem is that most advice that we are given focuses on protecting your time. How can you manage your time better? How can you protect it better, practically and outside of yourself? But what we need to understand is that time is not actually a real resource. Capacity is your resource. Capacity is the thing that is going to allow you to make the best of your time. So what do I mean by capacity? Capacity is the amount of energy, the amount of mental and emotional bandwidth you have. And women who are building their resilience protect that capacity because they are able to unhook from the identities that run them. They're able to choose how they respond. They are more willing and able as a result of that to be able to say no, to set boundaries, to not take responsibility for everything, to not be the fixer, the responsible one, the capable one. And it's really important here that I note this is not because they don't care. It's not because they're like, oh, I'm just going to throw my hands up in the air and walk away from everything. It is because they understand that the cost of taking responsibility for everything, of over-functioning, of perfectionism, of overdoing, the cost of that is huge to their relationships, to their presence, to their performance at work and at home, to their health. And so they know that they want to move out of that place of over-functioning, over-giving, overdoing. They want to protect their capacity so that they have more to give to the areas that really matter. Okay, so the last habit number 5, this is a little bit more subtle, but it is a very, very powerful habit to include in your day-to-day life. Now, the women who I have worked with and who we have worked together to build their resilience so that they can have this life that is so much more joyful and peaceful have shifted from a place of interpreting pressure, interpreting challenge, interpreting chaos and all that's going on around them, from this place of, I can't cope. This is too much. There's something wrong with me. Why can't I be like this person or that person? Why am I struggling? Why is this all so difficult? They've shifted to a place of understanding that actually pressure is just a part of leadership and growth and responsibility. this pressure that is going on around me is just a part of my moving forward. So instead of reacting to it, they are able to see it from a vantage point, a point of view of, I can manage myself within this pressure, rather than a point of view of, I need to manage the pressure around me. I need to get rid of it. I need to overcome it. I need to be better. I need to be more. Pressure is not a bad thing. We need a bit of pressure. We've got to have a little bit of stress to get us moving in the morning. It's when we feel like we cannot cope with things that everything goes south. It's then we are underneath that pressure, feeling small and unable to cope. But when you are resilient to the pressure, it's when you know, I've got this. I can cope. I have the ability to choose what affects me and what doesn't. Oh, this is so liberating. This is the gift you give yourself. This is the gift you give your home, your spouse, your children. This is the gift you give your workplace, your team. The knowledge that I am enough, I am good enough, I am capable enough, I am valuable enough to manage what is going on around me. So for you as an individual watching or listening to this on the podcast, when you integrate these habits into your day, into your life, they will change how you experience your day, how much energy you have, how you show up at home and at work. For organizations who are listening or watching and wondering how building the resilience of your team can impact their output, impact their performance, this is not about soft skills. These habits and the habits that I teach my clients are performance sustainability skills. They are part of a skill set that allows women who operate this way to make better decisions, to communicate more clearly, to stay engaged and focused with their work, to avoid burnout. It's all about sustaining performance over the long term, not just in one set of circumstances and then collapse. I remember I had a client who came to see me and she said, I have a 10-week shelf life. I last for 10 weeks, then I get sick, I burn out, I come back again, I last for 10 weeks. We want long-term sustainable performance. That is what I want to bring into the world, to bring into your home, into your workplace. So if you are listening to this and thinking, oh, that sounds like the version of me that I want to be, I promise you, you can be her. It's not an overnight, here we are. You build her, but you build her like you build the muscles in the gym. You do that through small, repeated shifts. You build her through awareness. What do I need to do? And then you practice it. And then you get support with it, like you would with a personal trainer. So, as your personal trainer for your mind, this week I want you to just pick one of those habits. Not all 5 of them, just ask yourself, which one do I want to pick? And what would it look like to practice this habit today? Calm, clarity, confidence, they are not things that you are just going to sit here and wait for. I'm going to wait and see what happens. Or things that you wish you had, but oh well, they're just not a part of my genetic makeup. These are things that you build so that you can have the results that you want. And if you would like support building these habits in a way that fits your real life, I would love to help you. Book a free resilience audit. The link is in the notes, and we will just spend half an hour looking at where are my habits, I don't know if this is the word, unaligned with the 5 habits of a calm, resilient woman. If you are in leadership or in HR, This is exactly the work that I bring into organizations to help your high performing women in your teams build that internal capacity that is going to allow them to perform, to lead, to live well within the pressure. You don't have to take deadlines away for women to still be able to meet them in the best way possible. The goal is not to remove pressure. That is unrealistic. The goal is to become someone who can stand steadfast within the pressure, can feel peaceful and at ease even when the chaos and the expectation and the needs are swirling around you.